Hey everyone, David C. Anderson here, coming at you from the Knife Center. We're here with Andrew Keel, one of the designers from Kershaw, and we've got some brand new zero tolerance knives and Kershaw knives to take a look at. So let's get into it. Andrew, good to see you, man.
Good to see you too, David.
Always a pleasure having you down here to take a look at the new year's new offerings.
I gotcha.
ZT is kind of the big story, I'd say, the latter half of 23 and now, 24 and now coming into 2025. Yeah.
It's hard to understate my excitement. It's been really fun over the past, we've been working on, right now we've got 4 new knives on the table. And we've been working on these, over the course of a couple of years. Past couple of years, everyone's like, what's going on with ZT? What's going on with ZT? And it's hard,
just keep your mouth shut.
You're like, you're like, or be like, oh, we got stuff coming, But it's fun that now we have, okay, we got 4 new knives on the table. That feels like a really good, a good line for ZT.
Well, let's just real briefly, we'll take a look at the 2 that you folks have probably already seen so far. These were released just a couple of months ago, and they're sort of, dare I say, it's like this along with the a couple other models are sort of leading a brand transition or a brand reorganization or something for ZT. Would that be a appropriate statement?
I feel like ZT has gone through some different phases, you know. And what I like about where we're at now, something we've done that's been very successful on the Kershaw side is that one of our mantras is something for everybody, right? If you want an EDC, we've got you covered. If you want an assisted knife, we've got you covered. Budget covered, fixed blade covered, all these different categories.
Sure.
We got them all, and in different price points. And so for ZT, we're kind of bringing that same ethos in. I love that so much. So if you want a outdoor bushcraft knife, fixed blade knife, we got you covered. If you want more of a elevated urban everyday carry knife, we've got the 5.56 and the 44. The titanium, machine titanium, and that kind of more classy, elevated vibe. If you want something that's a heavy use, I'm doing everyday work, but I want something that's a little bit more premium, we've got the 512, So we've got these different categories, all kind of covered, but it's ZT, and so everything, whether it's the super, super slim EDC auto or beefy fixed blade, all of them are overbuilt. All of them have that attention to detail and quality that you expect from zero tolerance.
Sure. These 2 are very cool, but they are just the beginning as we're kind of leading into right now. Let's talk about ZT's first button lock.
Yeah.
This is the 44.
It is the 44, and it's exciting. I feel like another big part of this phase, if you want to call it that for ZT, is that we're bringing it into 2024, 25 now. 2025, and a big part of that is button locks have been a huge trend, and a lot of these different mechanisms are not necessarily new mechanisms, but it's something that's new to ZT, and we want to bring it to there. And I think this in particular lends itself to ZT because of the smooth action. We've got ceramic ball bearing washers in there. You've got this titanium button cap on there. There's a lot of those little details that are gonna, it feels like a ZT knife.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned the feel, the action on it is one of the best button locks going to be as soon as this is available, which I should mention at the time this video comes out, these things should be available now, or at the very least for pre-order, I'm hoping. Check out the links below to see if I'm lying or not. But the action on this is right up there with some of the market leaders that we mention all the time. It is a fantastic first foray into this genre, I would say, for sure.
I'm so stoked. And the handles are clean, they're comfortable, they're weight relieved on the inside, so it's pretty lightweight. We've got just one tube spacer in the back, which is kind of fun overall. Supposed to be kind of a more minimalist approach.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be a great EDC for sure. Blade's a little over 3 inches long. You got S45 VM on this one. Great geometry on the blade. It's thin enough without being super thin, so you still retain a little bit of that ZT brawn. But it's not an overbuilt chunk type of a blade. You've got slicing geometry.
Good edge geometry for EDC.
Oh man, that's going to be so nice. Titanium handles, of course. Just feels really, really good.
Yeah, really stoked for this knife. We've also got pocket clip on the back, reversible deep carry. I was talking with Seth earlier about this clip. I love this clip so much. It's the same form factor that we have on the Bel Air on the Kershaw side. And it's just, you got recessed clip screws, and it's nice and wide here, so you're not going to be scratching stuff as much. It's just really comfortable. Overall, this is just meant to be a great kind of EDC knife.
Excellent stuff, man.
Yeah.
I'm going to mention prices here with the caveat of being at the time we're filming this, some of these prices may change a little bit.
Yeah.
So all the current pricing and specs and details, everything is going to be able to be seen at the links in the description. But the price on this should be around $340 at this point in time. Let's talk about ZT's second auto, not their first. We have the slimmer, gentlemanly 5.56 here for your automatic needs, but you've got something very different in terms of vibe right here.
Yeah, so this is an auto, which is obviously, is new second one, relatively new for ZT. But the rest of the knife, we're taking it back to the roots of ZT, which is something that I love. We've got pretty thick blade stock. We've got a nice high grind panel there, overbuilt steel liner under micarta, titanium handle on the back, Cerakoted. This is a working knife.
Yeah.
Crewware steel. I mean, this knife is meant to be used and abused.
It's kind of taking the same vibes as the 4
Yes.
here, the fixed blade you released last year. Same material, same color combination, basically.
I
right
wanted
here.
these in my initial concept for these, the ethos of the knife. It's that crewware steel. It's that thick crewware steel. It's meant to be just, you can beat the crap out of it, and it's going to take it, and it's going to perform really well. And you can, crewware for the high-end steels has really good ease of sharpening as one of its qualities, and so something that you can do in the field with that, too.
Still maintain it.
Exactly. These are meant to be field use knives, and so they've got the micarta on there. It's supposed to feel like a premium workwear jacket. It's kind of my if I was going to sum it up.
It definitely has those kind of vibes for sure.
Yeah.
And how do you mention thick on the crewware? I'd say it's not overly thick.
Yeah, it's well balanced.
It's well balanced. It's appropriately thick. Crewware, of course, is very tough steel.
Yes.
So you don't necessarily need to go super thick to get that strength out of it, which means you can actually cut better with it, which is what we're seeing here. That high flat grind with that, it's still going to slice pretty great, I think.
And just incredible. And the action on it's
It's
fantastic.
the 512. We haven't mentioned the name of it yet.
GT 512. And we've got, similar to the 44, we've got that button accent right there with a little pop of color.
Yeah.
Bringing that gold just to bring, again, kind of calling back to that workwear jacket. You've got a titanium tube spacer in the back. Same deal. Really comfortable pocket clip. Also machined weight relief in the back handle. And there's, you can see, you won't be able to see it on this shot, but maybe in B-roll, there's weight relief pockets in the steel liner as well.
Yeah.
So just
It's a nice touch.
really stoked for both of these knives. I didn't mention earlier, but this should go without saying, all the zero tolerance knives are made in our factory in Tualatin, Oregon. Just excellent craftsmanship on these. I'm really, really happy with where they're at.
Good deal.
Yeah.
And we say first and second ZT auto, but of course, Kershaw, the parent company of ZT, has been building autos for quite a few years now, and quite successfully as well.
Yes. And that's a big part of why we wanted to bring that to ZT, because it's been such a big deal for Kershaw. We wanted to share that.
Suffice to say, they know what they're doing with this sort of thing. Price on that should be about $320 when it is available. And speaking of the autos, we'll jimmy the order up here a little bit.
That sounds good.
New Kershaw auto this year, technically part of the launch series, and yet this is a very recognizable shape to anyone who's been following you the last couple of years, yeah?
Yeah, I feel like we're giving we're giving you guys a break. Usually with the launches, it's launch 18, 19, 21, 17, all over.
I'm terrible. I'm getting worse and worse with remembering numbers for model names. It's bad.
We're almost, I think we're to 20. I think
you're at 20, 21
if this was a
now,
number, this would be launch 21.
Yeah.
But just for I think the name has some recognition. It's the launch Iridium.
There you go.
So that you can say, it's an auto. Anyways, yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. First thing, I love USA-made Iridium. Is really fun.
Yeah.
If you like the Iridium design and you're like, oh, I want a US-made version, obviously we talked about this earlier. Our factories overseas that build the Iridiums do an exquisite job. I think part of the reason it's so successful is because of...
Oh, the fit and finish on them has been quite good. The design's been striking. So it's cool to see you bringing it to the US side and kicking up the quality even further.
It's really fun. I love it. So you got a lot of the same stuff with the Iridium. You got aluminum handles, and you got the aluminum backspacer with that lanyard loop. I love that so much. We put handle nuts here just to add a little bit of elevated detail on that, which I really like. Working finish on the blade. You've got MagnaCut blade steel.
Good stuff.
And this is the same size as the standard Iridium. So we've got the mini Iridium. This is the same size. I'll hold up this reverse Tanto one.
So we're about, what,
3.4 or 3.45 inches on that blade. This is just, for EDC, this is...
He knows his stuff. It's 3.45.
Pretty excited.
It's almost like he had a hand in designing it.
Exactly. Oh, what it really is that I designed it 6 months ago, and then I crammed on the airplane to get the specs in. But it just feels freaking incredible.
The action, man. The action's, I've always said, I would say the launch action has never been like the absolute best in the industry, but it's like right up there with all the market leaders. And I don't say that like to be insulting at all, but like it's a very good mechanism. They've always been very good value too. Like you can still get some of the launch series for around $100 these days. Yeah. And the price on this one I think is very competitive. It's not at the $100 price point, but these are going to be about $168 when they hit the site. Which, when you think like the Kershaw Bel Air, which was like the top-selling new knife release for us of all new knife releases last year, that with a 3.1-inch blade, MagnaCut steel, aluminum handles is about $150. This gives you more blade. You get the automatic action, and it's $168. I mean, that's a great,
it really is
great value.
Yeah, I love this knife, and yeah, the action's awesome, solid, consistent. I'm so excited to see this there. Yeah, it's going to be a great, comfortable, everyday carry auto, and it's just fun. I don't know, it's really fun to have the Iridium like be, that was like a knife that I designed it for me. I didn't design it necessarily for the public, and it's really cool to see that it resonated with people.
Yeah,
it's
been very successful. I mean, the mini version, the mini Iridium was also on our list of top 10 best-selling new knife designs of last year too, so good on you guys for sure.
Yeah, so it's a fun feeling for sure.
Next up, let me get my papers rearranged here.
Yep.
We have ZT's first button lock, but Kershaw is not being left out of the fun as well. The Kindred. Fantastic little EDC profile here.
Yeah, you were sharing some of your thoughts on it earlier. Can you
you
more about that?
They flew out here. You have me do your job. That's fine. No, I'm kidding. This is a cool little knife. They're going to be like $58, $58 or so. 3-inch D2 steel blade, full flat grind, great shape for EDC, and a great elegant handle. Like it's enough there to be not too much, but you can still get all the way up on it, get all 4 fingers on it if you need to just really push it a little bit harder. And the button lock is very cool. It works great. The action's very good.
It feels incredible. I think for this is like one of those knives for me where it's like every design consideration that you would make, or almost every design consideration you would make for everyday carry is here. We've got a good choil so you can resharpen, full flat grind, good length of blade, handle's comfortable, contoured nicely.
Yeah. Aluminum on the handles there?
Aluminum handles, full aluminum handles. We've got a small steel liner in the back to help like reinforce the lock for the button lock. And just you mentioned earlier, David, but the detent on this feels so good. I can flick it. Everything I want drop shut on those bearing washers is money. So that's the Kindred, and you said that comes in around $58?
It's going to be about $58, I believe, when it hits the site. Deep carry clip on that bad boy, sticking out actually behind the handle, so it will be very, very subtle indeed when it's sitting there in the pocket. It's reversible, which is nice, because everything else about this is going to be very lefty-friendly. Now, I was looking at this. Seth and I were looking at the cap here on the back, which is, of course, holding the mechanism for the button lock. We thought, like, is it reversible? And you said no.
No, unfortunately it's not. But it does reinforce the button really well.
Which, correct me if I'm wrong, that should mean you might be able to open this up to some really interesting handle materials maybe in the future.
That's my hope.
That you might not normally, like you would need that little extra reinforcement for.
I think for me, as a designer, one of the really fun things about this is getting, if the designs do well, like commercially, then we can bring in other materials, and that's fun. Because then a lot of times, like I obviously, as you can tell, I love using aluminum, and that's something that's been like very successful for us. But I also love like micarta and G10 and these other materials, and it's like sometimes if it does well, then we get to bring those in, and that's really very exciting.
Yeah, that's just going to be a great, easily recommendable pocket knife for anyone on a budget for sure. Like it's not a big fighting tactical knife. It's just a great pocket knife.
Yep. 100%.
Like it. We got some another auto to talk about, but really these we've got new blade shapes kind of showing up, new to these models anyway.
We've got, so this is these next 4 all reverse Tanto blades, which if you've followed Kershaw's designs, like that's my favorite blade shape.
I know you're partial to that.
That was like, I think I mentioned it before, there was like a period there where like my managers like forbid me from doing reverse Tantos because I did too many.
So now do you get to stand up and see like, I told you so?
I mean, we've got quite a few that have done pretty well. So I'm pretty happy with that. Lot on this knife. So obviously, you guys know the Livewire. I mean, I think it was our best-selling knife this past year. It's incredible.
We've sold like so many. Like it's been incredibly successful.
And there's a reason for that. I mean, for me, the biggest thing is the action. I've never been an OTF guy, but I love the Livewire because of how approachable that action is on the button. And this same thing for this reverse Tanto one. We've got MagnaCut blade steel on there, two-tone finish with the black is a PVD, which is really fun. I love that. We got aluminum handles. This is made in USA, made in our factory in Tualatin, Oregon. It just, I mean, I love the knife. And the nice thing, you know, obviously you guys probably know this, but the reverse Tanto. Also, while we're on reverse Tanto, whenever I come and shoot these with you guys, the comments are always like, it's a Wharncliffe. So if I say reverse Tanto, just translate that in your mind, YouTube commenters.
Modified Wharncliffe.
Modified Wharncliffe. That's what I'm saying. Internally at Kershaw, we've always called them reverse Tantos. I know it's basically a Wharncliffe.
Sorry, Thomas behind the camera is very happy right now that reverse Tantos.
You guys can, yeah, feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. I read them every year. But that's what we're talking about here. It's very, very utilitarian.
Yeah, you got that very acute tip that's going to work really well for piercing. And because, you know, this type of blade shape has very little belly, it's something that's really good pushing through bigger cuts, I've always found. The tip is less likely to slip out than something with, you know, an aggressive belly, for example. It just lends itself to those particular types of tasks well. And then, of course, any kind of draw cut where you want to use the tip. The other thing I appreciate about this, and is something I appreciate about the Livewire,
I was hoping you'd say that.
in general, is it's one of the few OT, like I like a thinner, slicier blade, generally speaking. And most OTFs, due to this size, they tend to be a little thicker in the geometry. But the Livewire is one of the few on the market that has a slicing geometry that I like.
Yes.
It's not to say some of those other things are bad, but some of them lean more like into like tactical units. I'm an EDC guy, and I like the sliciness that the Livewire brings to play, and you still have that here on this one as well.
The Livewire is an OTF for everybody, and that's what I love about it.
Yeah.
And I think this continues in that very nicely. I love the two-tone finish too, so nice. It's like really, you know, very cool.
Now, what's funny is you guys do have a Tanto blade on this. So
we did.
So for this to really be a reverse Tanto, you would have had to have literally just flipped it around. But it looks like you did a little bit different.
We did a little more than that. You know, we want to.
Okay.
Yeah, they got to pay us for something. So Jim put some time in on that blade shape, you know, and I think you did
just
a really good job.
giving you a hard time.
Yeah.
Just giving you a hard time. So these should be the same price as any similarly spec'd other Livewire on the site right now. So this one I believe is going to be about $239 or so, or $240 for that one, because that's with the coating on the blade that bumps the price up a little bit. So, but the Iridium and Mini Iridium have also seen this. This treatment done to them,
which is, you know, I'm very happy about that. It's really sweet. So we've got. I'm not going to spend a ton of time on these because you probably know the Iridium. But we've got a reverse Tanto blade, D2 steel. We've got aluminum handles, aluminum backspacer, a lot of the same specs. Bearing washers in the pivot. We call it Duralock. You were making fun of me for that earlier. Crossbar lock.
I feel like people in the comments are going to be annoyed that I'm giving you such a hard time, but like it's all in good fun.
Oh,
just so you know.
Yeah. I'm not bothered in the slightest. It's everything about the Iridium that we love. We've got these in
blacked
black
out, and then the new Mini version with this colorway.
I'm really stoked about this. It's been so fun. The kind of like the flip side of the coin of the success of the Iridium is that I have to keep coming up with new color variations for it. But I'm so grateful. So far, I have not run out. And we've done a lot of different exclusives and things and different mashups of color. But I loved, this is the blue.
So it's like the same ice blue as the original
as the
body,
Mini Iridium.
But now as the back.
We kind of combined the colors there. And it pops, man. You got the two-tone finish on the blade. You can't beat that. It's so good. And I think for me, I like the regular Mini Iridium, but especially in that mini size, adding the utility of the reverse Tanto blade in the shorter blade really, for me, makes a big difference, and I really like it.
It leans into that kind of like utility knife or box cutter, workspace a bit more, which is nice.
Yeah.
Prices on these, so 3-inch blade on the Mini Iridium, the standard version right there, I think it's gonna be about $60-61. The blacked out version about $64, and the blacked out full size version about $67 or so. Again. Full exact prices will be at the links below. I'm working on preliminary information at this point in time.
Yep. And those also have D2 blades.
Yeah, very nice.
Yep.
Speaking of crossbar lock with a D2 blade, or Duralock, if you will.
Ooh,
we've got. I can learn.
Yeah.
This is the Broadside. Yes.
Yeah, that's the Broadside.
I love the name, and I think it's a very cool design as well. It's a really great name for that type of shape.
Thanks. I've probably also mentioned this before. Like, knife naming is like such a, you got to go through like all this, like the dictionary. It's an adventure. But it
helps if you read a lot and you know vocabulary. That helps out a bit.
The Broadside name actually came from like I was listening to, I think it was like a C.S. Forrester book, or it was like one of the old like ship of the line kind of like British naval ship things, and that's like they're like when they fire all the guns at once, it's called like a broadside. So that's where that comes from.
Works.
But it fits for the beefy knife.
For
so
sure.
Anyways, to the knife, it's supposed to be a beefy, overbuilt Duralock knife. You've got slightly thicker, not like we talked about earlier.
Again,
not
like
too
it's
thick.
it's not too thick, not too thin. Like it's the geometry there is enough so you can slice with it. You've got enough durability with the thickness that is there, but it never gets. This is never approaching what I think of as like overly thick.
No. It's not like a Medford knife where it's like an axe. And
it's plenty sturdy though.
Yeah.
It's without being too sturdy.
Yeah.
it makes it's a good compromise
for EDC. Yeah, and this is meant to be like a working EDC knife. So you got a little bit bigger handle, very comfortable in hand. You've got some jimping accents there, so you can get good grip on it. Reversible pocket clip, G10 with the texture on there, which feels really nice. Definitely, the ethos is supposed to be pretty similar to.
It's kind of this.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like a Kershaw distant cousin. You know, of that, obviously with the crossbar lock instead. Again, you mentioned high grind panel, good sharpening choil. It's a using knife. You can use and abuse. I'm really, really happy with this.
This is between this and the Kindred, I think, are my favorite ones on the table today. Again, terrible numbers. The 44 is striking me pretty nicely too, but these others, the Kindred and the Broadside especially, I think are quite excellent. This is going to be about $80. 3.5-inch blade, plenty of length right there for any kind of hard-working scenario that you're going to need a folding knife in. Immediately, I think this is going to be a great option for campers or any kind of hard workers. Maybe a little less tactical, but it's still tactical enough that it could pull those things off. It's nice. I see you've got two screws here on the front, but you still do have pivot adjustability here at the back.
Gotta have that.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, man, really nice. I like the little accent of color on the liner there too. You didn't just go with straight steel.
It's a brown PVD.
PVD, yeah.
PVD finish, yeah.
Yeah, man, that is a very utilitarian blade. I mean, that's the thing. When you come to like a generic, I don't want to say generic as though it's a bad thing, just like a standard drop point blade with a full flat grind, it's so adaptable to so many different scenarios that this makes something like this so adaptable to so many different scenarios, So that's great. Neutrality to the handle is going to mean all kinds of different hand sizes are going to be able to use it too. That is a winner.
Yeah, it's meant to just be comfortable and just optimizing that performance.
Love it. Excellent.
Sweet. So now that we just got done talking about something super functional, we're going to transition. These are also functional, very functional.
But you're kind of having fun with some existing designs,
Yeah, so the first one that we've got, or I guess we can just do the first two. We've brought the Leek. Obviously, I love the Leek. It's like the classic Kershaw for a reason. Assisted opening, got 14C on these. Yeah, 14C on these guys.
For blade steel Sandvik's 14C 28. That's always been a really good steel. I think when I remember before you made the transition to this, it was like 420 something, I want to say. Yeah. The 14C has always been a great choice, I think, for the Leek. Not to step over your presentation here.
You're good.
Because of the toughness that it brings to bear on such a thin, narrow-tipped blade.
Yes. That
is a very, very vital statistic that you want to lean into with the steel. So
100%. And it just improves that functionality a lot.
Sorry, pardon my interruption.
You can always interrupt. You're good. They're just fun. So we got the Rainbow Trout Leek, and we've got the U.S. flag Leek. If you've got a Leek already and you want something that kind of spices up your carry selection, we got these covered for you right there.
They're going to be about $80 when I hit the site.
That's great. $80, liner locks.
U.S. made.
Yeah, U.S. made.
The funny thing to me is like how well that Trout shape fits this handle.
So random.
Like I would never have thought of it before, but like the head shape here at the end and the tail fin, it's like, man, fits really nicely.
I don't. When Ken did these, I don't think this is what he envisioned in the final form. But it's really fun. It's a neat addition to the lineup. So yeah.
And I'll say like the Leek is a classic EDC knife for a reason. Here at the KnifeCenter, like not everyone who works here is a knife person. Yeah. Some people may be surprised by that, but there's a lot of jobs that don't require you to be a knife person here running a retail establishment. And more of those non-knife people have bought Leeks than anything else. Like it's become a pattern where like Seth and I will see it and be like, how long till a new person comes in? How long till they buy a Leek?
Yeah.
What do you think? 3 weeks? 3 months? What do you think? It happens. Like it winds up happening.
It's incredible.
It's a great EDC.
Such a good knife.
Yeah. And last but not least,
Yeah, so back in the day, you know, we used to actually do the Leek and a couple other of our U.S. items in this rainbow PVD. I heard Ben Peterson call it like the oil slick vibe. Yeah, it's a rainbow PVD. On these guys, we got the Outcome and the Misdirect. I love both of these knives. They're just like, they're simple, solid, assisted opening frame locks. Imported knives with this this finish, and it's just fun. It's like
it's one of those fun things, yeah.
Yeah, and it's
For people who like that, they're gonna love this.
I feel like on these two, especially because they're such simple designs, I think they actually lend themselves really well to it. I like the rainbow version of the Outcome better than the original, just because it's like, it's interesting.
Well, it's a cool shaped knife too. Like it's very well considered, I would say, for an everyday carry type of design. Price on these, the Misdirect is going to be about $32. That's going to be a 4CR series stainless. Steel on the Outcome will be a little bit higher. There'll be the 8CR series, and this is going to be about $45 when it hits the site. Very cool.
Yeah, I love both of these designs. I'm really happy to see it. This is one of my, so I've been over the years growing as a designer, and this is one of my favorite flippers that I've done because it's like, it hits all the sweet spots and just like comfortable and like, yeah, I really like that knife.
Nicely done. Well, that's all we've got to show you right now. As mentioned, all of this should be available down at the links in the description by the time this video is live. If not, hopefully it'll at least be up for pre-order, but you can take a look at all of that at the links below. Andrew, anything else to add?
That's what I got. Thanks, guys.
That's all he's got. I'm sorry, folks. Hey, man, thanks so much.
Great to see you, man.
As always, for coming down and showing this stuff. We always appreciate it. Folks, like I said, check out the links in the description. Check out Kershaw's social media and all that as well if you want to give them a follow. I'm sure they would appreciate it too. Thanks.
Cheers.
See you next time.